And I'm back with more Persona 5 Royal. And today we're going to continue with our Mementos crap. The main thing here is I need to finish up getting...
Ooh, I'm detecting tons of stuff here.
I need to get EY's thing done. Well, I've done EY's, now I need to do Oya's. And then probably tomorrow do Shido's calling card business back on camera when I'm, you know, less inclined to have, like, no time because I was at the wild game and woke up late. But yes, this is a good time for me to talk about all my stupid little projects for this shit. I have several things I do.
I have to cut back on food expenses, but should I go back and get that art book?
How admirable. You hold something so dear. You're willing to sacrifice food for...
Ugh. No, never sacrifice food. But yeah, it's... Firstly and foremostly, since I'm doing this, might as well talk about Persona. It's still a ways from finishing.
Then...
We finished Shido's Palace, which is good. There's what I would consider kind of a mini follow-up dungeon, and that's the end of all of the Persona 5 proper stuff. Because I did things with Persona 5 Royal, namely Maruki, Kasumi, and Akechi, we are in line with doing the true ending, and that really involves about 10 to 12 more hours of footage.
What a jerk.
And
Yeah.
finishing that up, I'll be doing a shorter RPG before going into a longer one. And I decided upon Legend of Mana. And Legend of Mana, to me, is interesting, where it's like, I don't hate it, but I don't like it completely either, which is unfortunate. Ow, you hit me for 27 damage. Anyway, but Legend of Mana has a couple of good things going for it. It's also got a couple of bad things, which is unfortunate because the good things are so good, it's still worth playing. Yoko Shimomura did all the music, and I actually like that more than Kingdom Hearts or Super Mario RPG or something else. You know, when I think of her, I don't think of Final Fantasy 15. I don't think of Kingdom Hearts. I don't think of Super Mario RPG. As good as SMRPG is, I think of Legend of Mana. And some of those themes in Legend of Mana are so goddamn good. The visuals for that time, for that, like, 99-2000 period to do that would almost look like a watercolor, you know, pastel kind of storybook kind of thing, was amazing. And the way that you can kind of fuck around with going at your own pace and doing your own story, you don't have to 100% the game. You don't have to do all this crap. The problem is, for its story, because it tries to do everything in a non-linear fashion, the story kind of falters, and the gameplay suffers from a lot of backtracking, and honestly, the fighting system kind of sucks. The benefit of the remaster on PS4 is that they've cut down the random encounters to be a toggle switch. So, whenever I'm playing on YouTube, I'm gonna say, hey, this might be a super short episode because I'm focusing on the story, because I just don't want to backtrack. So we're gonna go through Legend of Mana,
Treasure chest.
and then after that we're gonna play Yakuza 7, like a dragon. And as much as I like Persona, I really, really like Yakuza 7 as well. So, Yakuza used to be a brawler type.
Turtle at the training building? It's quite a cute one.
Yakuza used to be a brawling type game, a beat 'em up. But they had the balls to go and say, hey, you know what would be fun, aside from getting surrounded?
Can't believe this. Surrounded by weak
What would be fun would be... Uh-oh. Ow. What would be fun would be, hey, you know Dragon Quest? Let's do that. But let's do it with Yakuza characters. Man. Damn it! Just do a thing. And so Yakuza 7 continues the oh my god, this is awesome with the oh my god, this is awesome, I want more of it. With a new city. Sort of. And a new, just a new emphasis on RPG combat. So, Yakuza is one of those things where I'm just, like, in love with it the more I play it. And it's going to be yet another long game. But at the same time, that's why I wanted to do Legend of Mana first, to give, you know, a 20 or, like, maybe even a 15-hour game, knowing how quickly I can get through it.
Okay.
So compared to 120 hours of this, which is going to equate to maybe 20-some episodes or something, I can knock that out in, like, 30. You know, it's going to seem like such a brisk pace or something like that. But Yakuza 7 will be the next mainline RPG after that.
Okay.
And I think that's really fun. Because I thought about what I'm doing next.
I'm getting more shadow readings and...
Because that's important. It's important to think of what do you do next, right? It's not just, hey, I'm doing a thing right now. It's, what do you have lined up?
What do we do?
We kill it. So, Yakuza is the main thing that we're doing after this, but Legend of Mana should deserve its own place and will get its own time. It's gonna look weird because I'm gonna be taking a lot of the story. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of the gameplay stuff, and I don't think I'm gonna be doing a lot of the side bullshit, like creating magical weapons and tempering swords and shit. It's probably gonna be just me going through story bits. But I also think that the story for what it is pretty unique, and it's definitely a Mana game. Is it the best series on the planet? No, but it was a game that I loved growing up as a kid. You know, Secret of Mana, I said, was a top 10 game. Legend of Mana, not as much, but it's still very good. And I will do my best to give it justice. On the podcasting side, we're working through Ruby. I'm almost done with Volume 8, so I'm going to record that at some point next week. Then it's Dragon Quest 8, because I've already recorded the Mega Man one, so that's in the can. I'm like 2 weeks ahead of schedule for that, which is interesting. But, you know, Dragon Quest after that, and then I'm going to talk about Gankutsuo, which is its own cool thing. Damn it! These guys don't want to go down, do they?
What, did they sneak up on you?
I let them. I thought I could kill them, I guess not.
Be careful.
Anyway,
Eat this.
but yeah, so I've got all that stuff going on.
Panther's rocking it. Persona.
And, you know, that's the YouTube side. I think, personally, the podcasts do more than the gameplay videos do.
Look at how angry it is.
But at the same time, I also think that just because these are super long games doesn't mean that people aren't watching
You're on
them.
a roll, huh?
And I think having that... It was something that Epos Vox
Been discovered.
said in a video a couple weeks ago is like, do you change your branding and do 2 different channels? No. You want to focus on one and keep it going.
Hiding something from us?
And I think that's important.
Doesn't look like you can go for its weakness.
Go down.
So, even though my channel is quite convoluted to an extent, I think having both a podcasting presence and a video game presence makes sense because I'm doing both. And the people who like listening to the podcast, listen to the podcast. People, you know, because it could feed into the games that I'm doing, or, you know, it could
Looking good.
feed into games that I haven't played yet but want to, you know, because these games are long-term projects that I have to spend time doing. But I think everything feeds into each other, so I don't have to change my channel to do that. It's the same thing with Twitch. I'm on Twitch all the time, and I was doing Persona dancing and just wasn't really seeing, you know, as much as I enjoy the games, I wasn't seeing numbers. And this is something that, you know, a couple weeks ago was driving me nuts, and now that I've been away from it for a couple weeks, I can say, okay, it was a choice that I made, and a better choice to not worry about it and just change up what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, I'm not making money off this. I'm making some, and I appreciate the money that I make, but
Why don't we crack it open?
my main contention was I've been doing this for like 2 or 3 years now, maybe 4 even.
We reached the platform.
And I get it. There's this like only a limited number of people who are gonna want to watch this or Final Fantasy or a Miku stream or a whatever.
All right.
You know, there are not as many people that want to do this sort of thing.
Let's do it.
But I also think that I have enough of a presence and enough of an audience that, you know, it's kind of a shame that stuff like Persona dancing are so meh, it's not worth doing anymore. So I set them aside and said, hey, what do I do instead? Okay, well, I'll do Legend of Zelda randos. I'll do a Final Fantasy VI randomizer, like I did last week, and finished it in about 5 hours. You know, that was cool.
Don't let it get away.
Let's go.
So I think I had to understand
Go down.
what was for me the best option.
Ooh, Joker, you're looking cool.
And so, as far as Twitch is concerned, like, I still play the Miku games and still love them and whatever. And those will stay regardless. Those are my de-stressor. They are my fun.
Power courses through me.
But playing stuff like Persona on
Nothing.
the free time, or, you know, I'll play Donkey Kong Country next time. That's cool. I'll play Donkey Kong Country next week instead of, you know, I tried Super Metroid the other day. It didn't, I don't think Super Metroid, like, fit for me. It just, the control scheme just wasn't for me. Like, I'm not going to say it's not a good game. I'm saying for me. Like, I couldn't really do what I wanted to do with it. And it was slightly frustrating,
I
so
never knew that simple cup ramen was that good.
so I won't play it.
I just can't believe you've never had one before.
And again, it's not that I hate Super Metroid, it's that physically playing it just didn't really work with me. And I'm willing to admit that. I think people have to be willing to admit that a game is not for them, but at least be willing to try a thing first before making a judgment call. And, you know, I decided not to play Super Metroid. That's fine. But I'll play something that I do enjoy. Donkey Kong, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario Brothers, stuff like that. So it'll be one of those things where
Just talk about luck.
one of those days on Twitch will be something different. So I don't have to set myself to a certain schedule. In a YouTube space, yeah, not much you can do. You have to kind of stick with what you've got, and if you want to change, you do have to change channels or let people know. Because I'm not going to sit here and start playing Fortnite. That is not my thing, as you can tell. I'm as far from a Fortnite or Call of Duty or Battlefield or Assassin's Creed guy as possible, as people can attest. I grew up playing games like this. So, I'm not gonna bullshit people. You know, and even if I'm not playing everybody's cup of tea, I think it's important that the people that do watch know that this is the stuff I do. There is no, there is no aversion, there is no bullshit. This is like, I'm running on 160 episodes of Persona, and I'm not bored at all. I'm getting to the point where, when am I going to finish this fucking game? But I know that this game is my favorite game of all time. I wouldn't go through it if I didn't believe it. So, I think if nothing else, people know the genuine feeling that I have for this sort of material. And even if it's not mainstream, I think it says a lot about me that I'm willing to take a look at my situation and say, hey, I don't have everything I want, and I don't have, say, maybe the viewership or the subscribers or whatever, you know, and that's fine. It's just a number at the end of the day. If I made money off this, it'd be great, but, you know, whatever money I do make and whatever fandom I do have is to be commended.
I found a chest. What do you want to do, Joker?
Because I remember
Sordid thoughts of people are stagnating in the air. My room gets like that.
I remember a thing that I told myself when I used to play or used to practice karate about 10 years ago was,
All right.
I'm not the best, not the worst. I'm just a guy, you know. But I think I'm just somebody in this space that does a thing, but does it with all of their interest. I'm not somebody that does a lot of things, and I'm not a variety kind of person. I'm not a variety guy, as you can tell. For better or for worse. And I think that's what happens with stuff like streaming is variety streamers are better off because they're playing so many things and they can reach so many other people. There's only so many people that would want to watch a Persona thing. And I think the people who succeed are the people who do, like, oh my god, I've heard so much about this, but they already have a built-in fan base, and it's like, well, that's kind of frustrating. It's like, you could be a fan of something, but I feel like, and this kind of sounds self-serving, and I don't want it to mean that way, but I don't like that unless I know that the person that I'm watching is a Final Fantasy fan or has done a thing or whatever. You know? I think if I'm gonna watch somebody play this, or I'm gonna watch somebody do a stream, it's gonna be somebody that I know isn't gonna not do this, you know, a week from now, a year from now, you know, something like that. They are wholly invested in every facet of this sort of thing, you know. And I think if nothing else, at the end of the day, all of my stuff feeds into, this is what I like. I like Japanese stuff. I like Japanese anime. I like Japanese games. I know that's a limiting audience, but I also know that I'm not going to shit on people who don't do it, but I'm also not going to shortchange people who are looking to me as somebody that they are interested in watching. So I think that's perfectly fine. But I think that was my concept of things. Do I wish I could make a career out of this? Probably not.
You're so stiff. Like right here. And here.
I think I enjoy it because it's not a career.
Master.
But I put as much effort into it as I possibly can.
See you later.
almost like those art collectors or model train guys, you know, those kinds of
Let's
people.
do it.
You know, they put so much emphasis on their hobby, it's insane. And I'd hope that that comes across, that is like who I am. It's a sort of perfectionist mindset, and it does come into play and gets me trouble sometimes. I'm not the best person here and there, but I definitely try. But that's it for Mementos. Hopefully that was a way to get through Mementos and kind of like a state of the channel sort of thing without making some sort of official statement on the matter. But next time, we'll keep on going. And then, like I said, in the next set of recordings, eventually we will face Messiah Sees Shido. See you next time.